Chapter 1. The Storm That Found Me. The storm came in fast, swallowing the sky in a bruised swirl of violet and black. The mountains disappeared behind a curtain of rain, and the forest, normally a place of quiet breathing earth, fell eerily silent. No birds, no wind. Just the sharp tang of ozone and the prickle of a warning I couldn't explain. I shouldn't have been out here. Even I knew that. But avoiding trouble had never been something life allowed me. Not when running felt like the only thing I'd ever been good at. My boots sank into mud as I pushed through the underbrush, jacket soaked through, hair plastered to my cheeks. Every breath fogged in the frigid air. Great, I muttered to myself, gripping my flashlight tighter as thunder cracked like the mountains were splitting open. Another perfect decision, Mara. I'd left town hours ago, trying to clear my head after yet another dead-end job interview, and another reminder that this small mountain town had long memories. Too long. I should have turned back at the first growl of thunder. Instead, I had kept walking, deeper into the forest trails I used to know as a kid. Before everything changed. Before the fire. Before the nightmares that never let me sleep. Another boom split the air and my flashlight flickered. Once, twice, and died. I froze. The darkness was instant, suffocating, pressing against my spine like a hand. My heartbeat hammered, too loud in the stillness. Okay, I whispered, swallowing hard. Don't panic. But the forest wanted me to. Something cracked in the distance. A heavy, deliberate snap far too large to be a squirrel or deer. Instinct crawled up the back of my neck. The dying stormlight flashed between the clouds, just bright enough to show the fog rolling in low and thick. And then, a sound. A low, agonized groan. Human. My breath hitched. I wasn't alone. Hello, I called, voice thin. Is someone there? The forest didn't answer, but the groan came again, this time closer, threaded with pain. Lightning illuminated the woods in a white-blue burst, and for a fraction of a second, I saw him. A man, collapsed against a fallen tree, barely visible through the sheets of rain. Shirt torn, skin smeared with blood and mud. Muscular shoulders rising in shallow, uneven breaths. His head hung low, dark hair dripping water. One arm lay limp, the other pressed to his side. I didn't think. I ran. Branches whipped my arms as I pushed through the tangled brush and slid down the muddy slope toward him. Hey, can you hear me? I dropped to my knees beside him, hands shaking as I touched his shoulder. You're hurt. What happened? He didn't answer. He didn't even open his eyes. But up close, I saw it. The strange pattern carved across his skin like claw marks. Deep, but already beginning to heal at the edges. It wasn't normal. It wasn't possible. And yet, there it was. My heart pounded. My mind screamed to back away. But something else, something deeper, anchored me here. A pull, a gravity, a whisper under my skin that felt like recognition. Him. Another flash of lightning lit his face, and the breath left my lungs. He was striking even through the grime. Sharp cheekbones, strong jaw, lips drawn tight in pain. A faint shadow of stubble covered his jaw. There was something wild about him. Something both dangerous and familiar. I shook myself. This wasn't the time to get lost staring at a stranger. Sir, I said, voice firmer as I pressed a hand to his cheek. You need help. I need to get you to town. Can you stand? His body tensed, so sudden it startled me. His eyes snapped open, dark, stormy, and glowing faintly amber in the dim light. For a heartbeat, neither of us moved. Then he growled. Actually growled. A deep guttural vibration that vibrated through the air and right down my spine. His eyes narrowed on me, tracking every twitch, Every inhale. I should have run. Anyone with sense would have. Instead, the words slipped out in a breath. You're hurt. I'm trying to help you. His jaw clenched. Rain dripped from his lashes. For a moment, I saw something flicker in his expression. Confusion, maybe, or fear. Then he shook his head weakly and tried to rise. His arm gave out, and he fell to his knees with a strangled sound. Stop, I said, catching him before he hit the ground again. You'll make it worse. Go. His voice was low, rough like gravel and smoke. You shouldn't be here. Neither should you, I snapped, pulling his arm over my shoulder even as he tried to resist. His muscles trembled beneath my touch, coiled strength and exhaustion battling each other. He smelled of rain, earth, pine, and something warm and wild I couldn't name. I can't leave you, I said, breath catching as lightning cracked overhead. I won't. His eyes softened, barely. A flicker of something raw moved through them. Mara. He said my name like he already knew it, like he'd known it forever. My pulse jumped. How? Before I could ask, a howl tore through the storm. Not a wolf's howl, not any animal I'd ever heard. It was lower, deeper, closer. He stiffened instantly, head snapping toward the sound. His hand clamped around my wrist, grip tight enough to bruise. Run, he growled, voice shaking with something like fear. Get away from here. My blood iced. What was that? Another howl echoed, closer. Predatory. He rose shakily to his feet, pushing me behind him with surprising force. Listen to me. His voice was low, urgent. Go back to town. Don't stop. Don't look back. And leave you here? Absolutely not. His amber eyes locked onto mine, fierce and pained and begging. You don't understand, he rasped. They're coming for me, and if you stay... A thunderous crash cut him off as something massive tore through the trees, not far behind us. His breathing deepened. His muscles tensed. Something in his posture changed, became sharper, more animal than man. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but my feet stayed rooted. Because for the first time in years, despite the storm, despite the danger, despite every reason to fear him, I didn't feel alone. I felt pulled, claimed, bound. He turned toward me just before the next flash of lightning, and there, in his eyes, burned something impossible. Recognition, possession, a promise sealed long before this night began. Mara, he said again, voice breaking, please, go. The storm exploded around us, the forest erupted in movement, and everything in my life, everything, shifted. Tonight, I wasn't the one who found danger. Danger found me, and it had the face of a wounded, mysterious stranger with amber eyes and a secret howling in the dark behind him. Chapter 2: The Man in the Storm. The storm didn't ease. It roared around us, shredding the sky with lightning and turning the world into a chaotic blur of shadows and rain. The forest seemed to breathe, alive, watching, waiting. And behind me, the stranger I'd just met, bleeding, half-collapsed, trembling, kept trying to push me away. That, more than anything, terrified me. Not the thunder, not the unnatural howl, not even the thing chasing him. It was the way his voice cracked around my name, the way desperation, not anger, shook his words. He wasn't warning me to save himself. He was warning me to save me. Please, Mara, he rasped, bracing a hand against a tree as another tremor racked his muscles. You shouldn't... A growl rolled through the trees, closer now. Heavy footfalls snapped branches like twigs. He reached for my arm, wavering on his feet. Go. No. It came out fiercer than I meant, but fear sharpened my voice. I'm not leaving you. His jaw clenched. Rain plastered his hair to his forehead. Even injured, Even shaking, he towered over me. Broad shoulders, thick muscles coiled with tension, eyes burning with something raw and feral. But beneath all that, I saw it. Pain. Too much for any human to survive. A flash of lightning lit the sky, and I saw blood seeping through the slashes on his side, dark and heavy. "You can barely stand," I whispered. "You need help." His throat bobbed, Adam's apple rising and falling. "I'm trying to keep you alive." "Then let me keep you alive too." For a second, one breath, one heartbeat, his gaze softened. The storm reflected in his eyes, amber flaring like embers in the darkness. He opened his mouth to speak. He never got the chance. Crack! A massive shape barreled out of the tree line behind him. I screamed. He spun, and the world exploded. The creature hit him like a landslide of muscle and fur. They tumbled through the mud in a violent blur, snarls, teeth, claws flashing. The sound was monstrous, too deep, too vicious to be any wolf I'd ever imagined. "No!" I stumbled forward before instinct froze me. They were locked in a deadly grapple just feet away, mud splattering, teeth sinking into flesh, claws tearing. The beast was huge, larger than any animal had a right to be, its fur black as wet midnight, eyes shining red. Not glowing from the storm, glowing from something inside. The stranger, wounded, exhausted, still fought like he'd been forged for combat. His muscles flexed with raw power as he grappled the creature by its throat, forcing it back with a guttural roar that sounded too deep, too wild to be human. He wasn't fighting to win. He was fighting to protect me, and he was losing. The creature slammed him into the ground again, jaws snapping inches from his face. "Stop!" I choked out, useless, terrified, soaked to the bone. My voice must have startled the thing. Its head jerked, eyes locking onto me. Time stopped. Those red eyes, dead, empty, hungry, fixed on my throat like a target. "No!" The stranger lunged, grabbing the creature's hind leg and yanking with a strength that didn't make sense. The creature whipped back around toward him, teeth bared. He met my eyes. He mouthed, "Run." But I wasn't running. I grabbed the nearest fallen branch, a thick one, slick with rain, and bolted toward them. "Hey!" I screamed. The creature turned. I swung. The branch cracked against its skull with a sickening thud. It snarled, spinning toward me. But before it could lunge, the stranger surged up with a raw, violent burst of strength and slammed the creature off its feet. They rolled again, fighting, snarling, tearing, and then its head snapped toward the forest. It froze, listening. Another howl shook the woods, this one deeper, louder, commanding. The creature snarled at the stranger one last time and bolted into the shadows, vanishing as fast as it appeared. Silence slammed down harder than the storm ever could. My breath trembled out of me. "Oh my God!" I staggered forward. "Are you—" He collapsed. I caught him before he hit the ground fully, but the weight of him forced me to my knees. His head lolled against my shoulder, breath shallow, body shaking like he was fighting something inside him. "Hey, hey, stay with me." I pushed wet hair from his forehead. "Don't you dare pass out." "No," he growled weakly, trying to rise again. I can't stay here. They're hunting." "Then we need to move," I said, breath hitching. "My cabin. It's half a mile from here." He blinked at me, barely conscious. The stormlight illuminated the cuts on his chest. They were deep, gaping. And yet, they were starting to close, not fully, not fast, but faster than anything human. My stomach flipped. "What are you?" I whispered before I could stop myself. His eyes met mine, haunted, conflicted, terrified. Then he slumped forward again, gripping my arm hard. "Don't ask. Rasped. Not now. A shiver crawled up my spine, but I forced my fear down. He'd protected me, fought for me, nearly died because of me. I wasn't going to abandon him. Come on. I slid his arm around my shoulders again. Up. Lean on me. He tried. His breath hitched with pain, but he forced himself upright. When you said cabin, his voice was rough but steadying. That means shelter. I need walls between you and them. Me? I swallowed. Why me? His jaw clenched, a muscle feathered in his cheek. I don't know yet, he said softly. But the forest does. The words sent a cold rush through my veins. Lightning flashed, thunder cracked. And together, step by agonizing step, we forced our way through the rain-soaked woods. His weight leaned heavy on me, but I didn't falter. Strange as it was, dangerous as it felt, I couldn't. There was something magnetic about him, something I couldn't walk away from even if I tried. Something that whispered, "This matters. He matters." When my small cabin finally came into view, dim, dark, half buried in mist, I nearly cried with relief. We're almost there, I breathed. He grunted softly, pain etched into every line of his face. We reached the steps. I fumbled with the lock with shaking hands, shoved the door open, and pulled him inside. He collapsed onto the wooden floorboards, chest rising and falling in ragged breaths. Rain drummed on the roof. The storm howled around us. I dropped to my knees beside him. Okay, I said, voice trembling. Let me help you. I need to see how bad the wounds are. His hand shot out, not aggressively, but with surprising speed, and closed around my wrist. No. His eyes burned into mine. You don't want to see what I am. I met his gaze, heart pounding. I already saw, I whispered, and I'm still here. Something in him broke, just a fracture, just for a moment, but enough for me to see the fear beneath the violence, the vulnerability he'd tried to hide. He exhaled shakily and released my wrist. I swallowed hard and reached for the hem of his torn shirt. He didn't stop me this time. Lightning lit the room through the window, and when I lifted the fabric, revealing the claw marks across his ribs, I froze. They were changing, shifting, healing and reopening in pulses, as if fighting against some invisible force. Mara, his voice was barely a whisper. Don't be afraid. I looked up at him. I'm not. His eyes widened, like no one had ever said that to him before. The storm howled. He stared at me with that impossible amber gaze, and something ancient, dangerous, magnetic pulsed between us, an invisible tether tightening in the dark. Chapter 3. The Wolf Beneath His Skin. The cabin lights flickered as the storm pressed against the walls, rattling the windows like impatient fingers. Shadows rippled across the wooden floor, wavering with each flash of lightning. But none of that frightened me as much as the man lying before me, bleeding, shaking, fighting something I didn't understand. Something monstrous, something impossible, something I had just watched tear through a creature from nightmare. He leaned against the wooden post beside my fireplace, breath shallow, chest rising and falling in harsh, uneven jerks. His torn shirt clung to him like wet parchment, revealing the jagged claw marks that pulsed with a strange, unnatural energy. I swallowed hard. What's happening to you? He dragged a hand over his face, mud streaking across his jaw. His fingers trembled, not from weakness, but restraint. It's the wound, he rasped, the creature that attacked me. Its claws carry a venom meant for my kind. My kind. The words landed like stones in my stomach. And your kind is... I whispered. His gaze snapped to mine, intense and warning. Don't ask me that, he said, voice cold. But underneath the coldness was something fragile, something terrified. I held his gaze. I already saw enough to know you're not human, he finished for me. His jaw flexed. You shouldn't say that. Not yet. Why? I breathed. Lightning flashed outside. His eyes glowed in the dark. Amber. Burning. Otherworldly. I flinched. Not out of fear, but awe. He saw it, and something in him softened. You don't scream, he murmured. Most people would. I only scream when something is hurting you. The words slipped out before I could stop them. He blinked, startled. Mara. He said my name like an exhale, like he couldn't help it. The tether between us tightened, invisible but undeniable. Like gravity had shifted, aligning us in a way that felt ancient and terrifying. I tore my gaze away and reached for my first aid kit. If I didn't look at him, maybe I could think, maybe I could breathe. But when I pressed a warm cloth to the wounds on his ribs, his entire body tensed. A low, vibrating growl escaped his throat. I froze. His hand shot up and caught my wrist. Not painfully, but firmly. His breath stuttered. Be careful, he warned. I'm not steady. Does it hurt? I asked quietly. His eyes closed. Yes, but that's not why. A shiver crawled up my spine. Then why? His grip tightened for a heartbeat, just enough to make my pulse leap. Because you smell like the storm, he whispered. Wild, clean, familiar. I stopped breathing. He inhaled again, slower this time. His lashes fluttered, and an expression flickered across his face. Wonder, conflict, longing. It's dangerous for me, he murmured. Your scent. I stared at him. Why? He let go abruptly, dragging his hand through his hair. I can't tell you. If I do, it'll make things worse. Worse than being hunted? I asked. His jaw flexed. Yes. Rain hammered the roof. Thunder shook the walls. I sat beside him, close enough to feel the heat rolling off his skin. The wound still pulsed strangely, closing, reopening, closing again. Let me help you, I whispered. You already have. He didn't look at me. More than you know. His voice cracked on the last word. I reached out again, gently pressing the cloth to the deepest cut. This time he didn't stop me, though his fingers dug into the floorboards hard enough to splinter them. You shouldn't touch me, he growled under his breath. I'm barely holding on. To what? I whispered. Your humanity? His eyes snapped open, and the look he gave me was raw, unguarded. Yes. For the first time, he seemed afraid of himself. My heart squeezed painfully. Then let me be something you can hold on to. He inhaled sharply. A tremor ran through him. Not of pain, but something else. Something electric. He turned his face away, jaw clenched. You don't know what you're offering. Then tell me. I can't. Why not? His head dropped back against the post. He looked exhausted, haunted, like he'd been running from something far bigger than that creature in the woods. Because once I tell you, he whispered, you'll never be able to leave. Something fluttered in my chest. Part fear, part something else entirely. I'm not planning on leaving, I said softly. He let out a strangled sound, halfway between a laugh and a groan. You should. But I won't. Lightning illuminated the cabin, catching in his eyes. He stared at me like he didn't understand how I existed. I don't know why, he murmured, more to himself than me. But the moment I saw you, something in me, he swallowed hard. Shifted. My skin prickled. Shifted how? His voice lowered, rough and almost reverent. Like the world moved. Those words. That tone. Something deep inside me reacted. A pull. A pulse. A warmth in my chest that wasn't mine alone. I forced myself to breathe. What's your name? He blinked slowly, as if he'd forgotten he had one. Ronan, he said finally. Ronan. The name settled into me like it belonged under my skin. I whispered it. Ronan. His breath caught. The reaction was immediate, visceral, like the sound of his own name on my tongue affected him physically. He turned toward me, eyes blazing. Mara, he said softly, warningly. Don't. Don't what? Say my name like that. Like what? His jaw clenched. His breathing deepened. Like it matters. My pulse fluttered wildly. It does. He closed his eyes, like the words were a blow he didn't know how to take. Then suddenly, violently, he lurched forward, bracing a hand on the floor as a harsh, guttural sound ripped from his throat. Ronan? I grabbed his shoulder. What's happening? Stay back. His voice was low, strained. The venom, it's triggering the shift. Shift. My blood ran cold. He'd nearly said it earlier. Now the truth was slipping through the cracks. His bones trembled beneath my hands. The muscles in his back shuddered. I can't. His breath hitched. I can't hold it. His hand, clawed with tension, seized the front of my shirt. Not to hurt me, to anchor himself. His forehead pressed to mine, hot and damp with sweat. Close your eyes, he whispered. Don't look at me. I didn't move. Mara, he growled, voice breaking. Please. Not fear, not anger, desperation. I cupped his face with both hands. I'm not going anywhere. His eyes flew open, wild amber, pupils blown wide. Lightning cracked, thunder screamed. And for a split second I saw it. Not a man. Not fully. Not anymore. His teeth lengthening, his pupils narrowing, the glow in his eyes burning hotter, brighter, fiercer, the wolf beneath his skin fighting to break through. Ronan tore himself away with a guttural roar, slamming against the wall and curling in on himself as if holding back a tidal wave. I reached for him anyway. Ronan! Don't touch me, he snarled, not at me, but to protect me. If I lose control, You won't, I whispered. I trust you. He froze. Everything froze. The storm, the cabin, the trembling in his body. Ronan lifted his head slowly, eyes blazing. You shouldn't, he whispered, voice broken. But God help me. I want you to. The pull between us tightened like a cord wrapped around both our hearts. Outside, the storm screamed. Inside, something ancient stirred. And for the first time, I understood. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't chance. Whatever Ronan was, whatever hunted him, I was part of it now. And he knew it, and feared it, and wanted it, all at once. Chapter 4. A wolf at my door. The cabin felt too small for the storm inside it. Ronan crouched against the wall, muscles trembling, body caught between man and something else. The air vibrated with a low, unnatural growl, coming from him and inside him all at once. Every shadow in the room seemed to twist toward him, pulled by the raw energy rolling off his skin. I pressed my back to the opposite wall, not from fear, but from awe. Every instinct I had warred with itself, run or reach for him, hide or help. But there was no universe in which I would leave him alone in this state. His chest heaved like he'd been drowning for hours, and his fingers clawed deep grooves into the wooden floor. Not normal grooves. Long, sharp, almost like claws. Real ones. I swallowed hard. Ronan. What can I do? He squeezed his eyes shut, jaw clenched so tightly I thought it might break. Stay. There. His voice was hoarse, shredded. The shift is too close. If I lose control, you won't hurt me. I didn't know how I knew. I just did. He let out a strangled, pained laugh. You have no idea what I am, Mara. Then tell me. He shook his head violently. Rain hammered the windows. Wind howled through the cracks. I can't, he said. Not when I'm fighting it this hard. His voice dropped to a low, tortured whisper. Not when I can smell you. Heat flushed through me unexpectedly. Smell me? He looked up then, slowly, and the look in his eyes stole the air from my lungs. Amber. Wild. Ravenous. His pupils were sharp slits now, shimmering with something primal, something feral, and yet beneath it all, there was recognition. Not of my face, but of something deeper. He inhaled, shaky, ragged, like every breath was a battle. That's why it's dangerous, he murmured. Your scent calls to me. I didn't move. Call how? He flinched, like the question hurt. Like a home I've never seen, like a warmth I shouldn't want. My heartbeat stuttered. He continued, voice shaking. Like destiny. Destiny. The word hit me low in the stomach, warm and terrifying. I stepped closer. Mara. No. His voice deepened, thick with warning. Don't. I took another step. He snarled. An actual snarl, and his hands flew up defensively. But he didn't lunge. He didn't strike. He didn't even move away. He trembled. You don't understand what this is, he hissed. Then tell me, I said again. Lightning lit his face. Half human, half something ancient. His lips pulled back over teeth that were already too sharp, too long. I'm a wolf, he said through clenched teeth. A shifter, cursed by my bloodline. And right now, the creature that bit me is trying to rip that control from me. I didn't react the way he expected. My breath trembled, but I didn't step back. Okay, I whispered. Then let me help you stay in control. The room went silent. Only his breathing filled the space. Harsh, pained, desperate. His eyes searched mine like he expected fear, disgust, horror. But all he found was a strange, fierce calm. Mara. His voice broke. Why aren't you running? Because you protected me, I said softly. And I'm not leaving you alone like this. He shook his head. You don't owe me that. I'm not doing it because I owe you. I'm doing it because I want to. His breathing stuttered. Something inside him, some wall, some instinct, some barrier, wavered. You shouldn't want this, he whispered. You shouldn't want me near you right now. I think I'm exactly where I need to be. He shut his eyes again, like he was in pain. Your scent. It's anchoring me, but it's also... His breath hitched. It's making everything harder. How do I anchor you? I whispered, barely breathing. He opened his eyes. His expression was a storm. Talk to me, he said. Your voice keeps the wolf from taking over. So I did. I knelt down slowly until I was level with him. Close, but not touching. His eyes tracked every movement, pupils dilating, nostrils flaring as if he could taste me on the air. Ronan, I whispered, look at me. He did. And the world shrank to amber and fire and trembling breaths. You're fighting it, I murmured. You're winning. He shook his head, sweat beading at his temples. Barely. Barely is still winning. His breath caught. For a moment, the amber glow softened, warming like embers instead of flames. Keep talking, he rasped. Why were those creatures hunting you? He winced. The shift rippled along his arms again. They're from a rival pack, he murmured. Shifters like me, but twisted by a curse. They follow orders from someone who wants me dead. Tonight, they tracked me before I could shift fully. His jaw tightened painfully. A half shift is the worst state to be caught in. Another wave of pain hit him, and he grit his teeth. I leaned closer. You're not alone anymore. His head snapped toward me, eyes blazing. Don't say that. Why not? Because I don't deserve it, he whispered. Not after what I've done. Not after what I am. You saved my life, I said firmly. Maybe you deserve more than you think. His breathing faltered. The storm outside roared as if reacting to him. Mara, he said, my name a broken confession. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to matter. But I do, I whispered. He made a sound low in his throat, half anguish, half surrender. You feel it too? He said softly. I know you do. My heart hammered, but I didn't deny it. The moment stretched between us, hot, dangerous, electric, until another violent tremor racked his body. He doubled over, hands braced on the floor. The veins along his arms darkened, pulsing like shadows under his skin. Ronan? I reached out before I could stop myself. His hand shot out instinctively, not in attack, but in panic, and his fingers closed around my wrist with startling strength. Mara, he snarled. Don't! But it was too late. His skin burned where he touched me. His breath hitched. His eyes flared with feral heat. The cabin seemed to vanish, replaced by a rush of heat and cold and something ancient pulling tight between our chests. His voice dropped to a trembling whisper. I recognize you. My breath stopped. Recognize me how? His grip softened. Barely. In my world, he said slowly, we have something called a bond, a mate bond. My heart stumbled. And you think I'm... No. His eyes locked onto mine. I don't think. I feel. The tether between us snapped taut. Mara, he whispered, voice breaking. I think the moon chose you for me. The air left my lungs. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. But before I could speak, Ronan gasped, choked, and collapsed against me as another violent surge of pain tore through him. His forehead hit my shoulder. His breath scorched my neck. His entire body shook. Mara! His voice was ragged. I can't hold it much longer. I wrapped my arms around him, heart pounding. I'm right here. I whispered into his hair. I'm not leaving you. Lightning flashed, thunder cracked, and in my arms, Ronan trembled at the edge of the shift, held back only by the sound of my voice and the warmth of my body near his. Chapter 5: Between the Wolf and Me. Ronan's weight bore down on me, heavy and trembling, his forehead pressed to my shoulder as if the contact alone kept him tethered to this world. His breath came ragged, hot against my neck, each exhale shaking with the effort to remain human. I held him tighter, not out of fear, out of instinct, out of something deeper than reason. His fingers, already curling strangely as if the bones underneath were shifting, clenched the back of my shirt like I was the only solid thing left in a world trying to tear him apart. Ronan, I whispered, brushing damp hair from his temple. I'm here. I've got you. He made a sound low in his throat, half growl, half plea. I can't. His voice cracked. The wolf is too close. It's clawing its way out. Then hold on to me, I whispered. I am. His breath hitched. And that's the problem. Another tremor rolled through him, his spine arching as if something inside him pulled hard in two directions. His nails scraped the wooden floor. Claws glinted for a split second before retreating. He was fighting so hard. You shouldn't be touching me, he gasped. You don't understand what that does. Then tell me, I murmured. He lifted his head just enough for our eyes to meet. The heat in his gaze nearly burned me. My wolf knows you, he whispered, before I ever did. My breath caught. And it's calling the shift to the surface because you're close, because it wants... He cut himself off with a groan, head dropping again. Wants what? I didn't dare ask. Not now. Not when he was shaking apart in my arms. Lightning cracked outside. The room flared bright with white blue light. For an instant, his skin shimmered, rippling like something under it was trying to break free. Mara, he panted, I need you to move away. No. Mara, he growled, voice lower, darker. I said, I'm not leaving you. His breath hitched violently, not in anger but shock. Why? The question tore out of him. Why would you risk that? Because your wolf isn't the only one who feels something, I whispered. Silence cracked between us, loud as thunder. Ronan froze. Then something in him, some fragile, fiercely guarded piece, fractured quietly. You feel it? He whispered, barely audible. I didn't look away. Yes. His hand, half shifted, cupped the side of my neck with a trembling tenderness that contradicted the lethal claws threatening to emerge. Don't, he breathed. Don't tell me that. It'll make it harder to protect you. Protect me from what? I whispered. From me. That broke something in me. You saved me, I said fiercely. Even while bleeding, even while half-shifted, you dragged a monster away from me while you were barely standing. He shook his head, jaw clenched with pain. That wasn't strength. That was instinct. So is this, I told him softly. Whatever is happening between us, it's not something to fear. His breath touched my lips. Too close, too warm, too intimate. He jolted back suddenly, as if realizing how close we were, and slammed his fist into the floorboards with a snarl. Don't tempt it, Mara, he roared. The cabin shook. My heart didn't. I crawled toward him slowly, eyes fixed on his, making sure every movement was deliberate, calm. Ronan, I whispered. Look at me. His gaze dragged up reluctantly. But when it landed on mine, something steadied in him. Like the sight of me was a weight pulling him back to earth. He swallowed hard, breath still shaking. You're an anchor I never asked for. I know, I whispered. But you need one. His throat worked. His fingers twitched, claws threatening again. You don't understand what you're binding yourself to, he murmured. Shifters. We don't love lightly. We don't bond lightly. If the moon marks someone for us, it's for life. I felt something flutter deep inside me. Fear, yes, but also warmth. Clarity. And you think I'm marked for you? He didn't blink. I don't think, he whispered. I know. The moment I saw you in that storm, my wolf stopped fighting. It recognized you. My breath trembled. What does it mean? It means you're mine. The words weren't possessive. They were reverent, broken, wounded. Not in a way that traps you, he added quickly, voice ragged. Not in a way that takes your freedom. It's a bond, not a cage. But it binds me to you. It means, his voice faltered. It means I'll die before I let anything hurt you. A shiver washed through me. Outside, the storm raged. Inside, there was only Ronan and the quiet, dangerous truth hanging between us. But that's why you need to step back, he said, squeezing his eyes shut. I can't lose control with you this close. I placed my hand on his cheek. He inhaled sharply, almost violently, eyes snapping open as if the touch set his blood on fire. Mara, he warned. Ronan, I breathed back. His chest heaved, his pulse drummed visibly at his throat. You don't know what you're doing, he whispered, voice breaking. Yes, I said. I do. The tension snapped. Ronan surged forward, grabbing the wall behind me, not me, trapping me between his body and the wooden boards, his breath ragged, his muscles shaking. His face hovered inches from mine, too close, dangerously close. Don't, he whispered desperately. Don't look at me like that. Like what? Like you want this. My heart thundered. I do. His breath hitched, almost pained. You can't, he groaned. You shouldn't. Then tell me to stop. He stared at me, really stared, eyes searching mine for fear. He found none. I can't, he whispered. Silence. Lightning flashed. And the moment his defenses fell, just for a heartbeat, was the moment the storm inside him quieted. His claws retracted. His breathing slowed. His eyes softened, warming to molten amber instead of feral gold. Mara, he murmured, voice hoarse but human again. You pulled me back. I told you I would. He exhaled shakily and lowered his forehead to mine. Exhaustion and relief sagging through him like gravity finally caught him. You shouldn't be able to do that, he whispered. Yet you do. I brushed my thumb along his jaw. Rest. I can't. Not with danger this close. We'll deal with it together, I said firmly. His eyes flew open. Don't ever say together like that unless you mean it. I mean every word. He stared at me. Long, silent, stunned, like he didn't know what to do with the truth. Finally, slowly, reverently, he whispered. Then the world just changed. His trembling eased. His body softened. The wolf retreated. But before either of us could breathe too deeply, a howl ripped through the trees. Closer. Angrier. Hunting. Ronan's entire body went rigid. They found me, he growled. And they'll come through these walls for you. I swallowed. What do we do? He looked at me with a mixture of fear and fate. We run, he said softly. Together. Chapter 6. Into the heart of the woods. The howl that tore through the forest wasn't just close. It was inside the tree line behind my cabin, so loud and guttural the window panes rattled. The sound vibrated down my spine like a warning whispered by the night itself. Ronan stiffened, every muscle locking into place. His eyes snapped toward the door, pupils sharpening again, feral, alert. There was no trace of weakness now. No tremor. No struggle. Just sharp, focused danger. They're circling, he murmured, voice low and deadly. We have minutes. Maybe less. Fear shot through me, instinctive and cold. Ronan. Who's they? A hunting party. His jaw flexed as he pushed off the wall, steadying himself. Shifters from the Bloodbane pack. They don't stop until they have what they want. And they want you? I whispered. He didn't answer. He didn't have to. His eyes flicked to mine, amber flickering with the faintest spark of vulnerability. They'll smell you, he said. They'll know you're with me. And that makes you a target. The gravity of everything hit me at once. This is my fault, I whispered. Because I helped you. No, Ronan growled, stepping closer. You saved my life. Don't ever regret that. But now you're hurt. You're half-shifted. They could. I've faced worse, he cut in. It's you I'm worried about. Something shimmered inside me, warm, fierce, terrifying. Then we leave, I said, standing straighter. You said we run together. So let's go. His expression softened, barely, enough for me to see the gratitude beneath all the shadows. But when he stepped toward the door, he swayed. His knees buckled. Ronan! I grabbed his arm before he could collapse, my body instinctively moving to steady him. He let out a harsh breath, gripping the doorframe to keep upright. Damn it! He snarled at himself. The venom's slowing me, the shift's still fighting. Then you can't run, I said firmly. Not like this. He turned, gripping my shoulders with both hands, fingers trembling. Mara. His voice was low, urgent. If they break in here, they won't. You don't know what they are. Then tell me. I can't. Not right now. Then trust me. His eyes met mine, intense, tortured, full of impossible emotion. I do, he whispered. It felt like the cabin itself exhaled around us. Then another howl, closer, ripped through the woods. Ronan's hands fell away. We go through the back, he said quietly. There's a path that leads deeper into the trees. If we can reach the ridge, I can shift fully. I'll be strong enough. I nodded. I know the trail. It's narrow, but it's good, he said, too tight for all of them to follow at once. Another sound, a low snarl, scratched along the edge of the cabin walls. Ronan's eyes darkened. They're here. I grabbed my jacket, a flashlight, and the hunting knife tucked inside the drawer. Not much, but something. Ronan watched me, brow furrowed. You shouldn't need that, he murmured. I raised my chin. Maybe not, but it makes me feel less helpless. He didn't argue. He just stepped closer, brushing his fingers along my arm. Stay behind me, no matter what. I will, I said. Another flicker of emotion crossed his face, something raw and grateful, as he pushed open the back door. The rain had softened to a mist, but the forest was alive with tension. The air felt charged, thick with the scent of pine, wet earth, and something else. Something dark. Ronan inhaled sharply. They're tracking us. Then move, I whispered. We slipped into the trees. The trail was narrow, roots twisting like skeletal fingers under the soil. The mist curled around our ankles, swirling in ghostly shapes. Ronan kept just ahead of me, every movement slow, deliberate, listening to sounds I couldn't hear. You're hearing? I murmured. He gave the faintest nod. Every sense strengthens when the wolf's this close. Does that hurt? All of it hurts, he admitted, but pain keeps me human. We moved deeper. Branches brushed my hair. Leaves stuck to Ronan's skin, already heating with fever, shifting between human warmth and something else. His breathing grew heavier with each step. How far to the ridge? He asked. 5 minutes, I said. He nodded, then stumbled. I caught his arm again. Mara, he warned, you can't keep. I said I wasn't leaving you. He swallowed, eyes softening again. I know. Thunder rumbled in the distance like the storm was returning, but another sound made my blood turn cold. Footsteps. Fast. Heavy. Growing closer. Ronan stiffened. Run, he whispered. We sprinted. Branches whipped my face, mud splashed under my boots, and the forest blurred around us in streaks of dark green and gray. Ronan stayed ahead, but barely, his movement still powerful, but unsteady. He wasn't healing fast enough. Mara, he called, motioning for me to follow a sharp turn in the trail. This way. We cut between two massive boulders, and that's when the first bloodbane shifter broke through the trees behind us. I didn't see a man. I saw a monster. Tall, too tall, with half-wolf features and red eyes glowing like coals. A snarl ripped from its throat. Ronan shoved me behind him. Stay back, he growled. The creature lunged. Ronan met it head-on. The clash was brutal, teeth flashing, claws slicing the air with a sickening hiss. Ronan slammed the creature into a tree but stumbled, weakened by the venom. Ronan! I cried. Run! He roared. Go! I won't leave. Mara, go! Something in his voice, fear, desperation, shocked my body into motion. I stumbled back, searching for anything, any weapon. My fingers brushed the hunting knife. I pulled it free. The creature jerked Ronan to the ground, pinning him. Its jaws snapped inches from his throat. And Ronan's strength faltered. No, I whispered. No, no. I ran. Hey! I screamed, and the creature's head whipped toward me. Mara, stop! Ronan roared, voice deeper, almost not human. But I didn't stop. I drove the knife forward with both hands, aiming for the creature's shoulder. It buried deep. The monster howled, rearing back. Ronan shoved upward with a burst of desperate strength, flipping it over. His eyes met mine, wild with fear. What are you doing? He snarled. Saving you. He growled, sharply, angrily, painfully, as the creature scrambled backward. But then its head lifted, scenting the air. It looked at me. Its red eyes widened, and it smiled. Not human, not wolf, something in between. It knows, Ronan whispered, horror in his voice. It knows what you are to me. Before I could ask, another howl answered from the forest, closer, hunting, more of them. Ronan grabbed my hand, grip fierce but trembling. We're out of time, he said, voice raw. If they reach you, the bond will pull me into the shift and I'll lose. Control. So what do we do? I whispered. He met my gaze, amber blazing bright and terrified. You trust me, he said. I already do. He inhaled sharply, like the words cut him. Then he lifted his free hand, cupping my cheek with trembling fingers. I'm going to shift, he whispered. Fully. I won't hurt you, but you can't run from me. Not until I come back. My breath caught. Ronan. You're my anchor, he said. Stay where I can find you, or I'll tear the forest apart looking. Lightning flashed. Amber flared. The wolf surged toward the surface. Close your eyes, Mara, he whispered. This part isn't meant for human sight. I did. Ronan's breath hitched, deep, pained, powerful. And then the sound of bones shifting, reshaping. The wolf was coming. For me. With me. Because of me. And the forest held its breath as Ronan broke. Chapter 7. The Wolf That Chose Me. The sound of Ronan's shift was something no human should ever hear. Bones stretching, tendons snapping, then reknitting. A deep, guttural growl rising from somewhere ancient and wild. I kept my eyes squeezed shut just like he'd begged, because I trusted him, because something inside me knew that watching him shift would carve itself into my nightmares forever. But even without sight, I felt it. Heat radiated from him in waves, thick enough to warm the cold forest air. The ground trembled beneath my palms. His breath turned into snarls, his voice fading behind something thicker, rougher. Then, silence. My heart hammered painfully in the empty pause. Ronan? My voice cracked. The forest answered first, not with Ronan's voice, but with a low, rumbling growl that vibrated through the trees and straight into my bones. Slowly, cautiously, I opened my eyes. He stood where Ronan had been. A massive wolf, larger than any wild creature that should exist. Shoulders rippling with muscle, fur black as midnight, streaked with storm gray along his spine. His eyes glowed molten amber, bright even in the shadowed trees. Not a monster. Not a beast. Something else. Something powerful. Something terrifying and beautiful all at once. My breath caught. Ronan, I whispered. His ears flicked at his name. He stalked forward, slow, controlled, deliberate, not threatening, not attacking, guarding. His enormous head dipped low, bumping gently against my hand. A soft, vibrating sound, almost a purr but deeper, rose from his chest. Oh, I breathed, relief flooding me. You're still... you. Thunder rumbled overhead. The forest was alive with approaching footsteps, brush snapping far too quickly. The bloodbane pack was closing in. Ronan's head whipped toward the sound, a snarl ripping from his throat, deep enough that the leaves above us shuddered. Okay, I whispered, fear tightening my chest. We need to move. He nudged me urgently, herding me behind him before lowering his body enough for me to climb onto his back. You want me to? I hesitated. He nudged me harder. Okay, I get it. I swung a leg over carefully, fingers digging into the thick ruff of fur along his neck. His heat enveloped me instantly, grounding me against the pounding fear in my chest. Go, I whispered. He bolted. The forest blurred around us in streaks of green and shadow. Wind whipped my hair back. My legs tightened around his ribcage as he leaped over fallen logs, dodged branches, and tore through the underbrush with impossible speed. I'd never ridden anything moving this fast. Not a horse, not a vehicle. And yet somehow, I felt safe. Safe on the back of the most dangerous creature I'd ever seen. Safe, because he chose me. But the bloodbane shifters weren't far behind. Howls erupted from multiple directions, one left, one right, one directly behind us. Their footsteps thundered against the forest floor. They're closing in, I shouted over the wind. Ronan growled, an irritated, feral sound, and pushed harder, muscles coiling as he launched himself up the incline toward the ridge. His claws dug deep into the mud as he scrambled upward, and then he slipped. My heart lurched. Ronan! He caught himself immediately, throwing his weight forward to keep me from being thrown off. But the stumble had cost us distance. The footsteps behind us grew louder. Ronan's ears flattened. He surged forward again, weaving between thick trunks, cutting through bramble, but he was still weakening. His breath ragged, legs shaking as the venom pulsed through his veins. He needed more time. The ridge was in sight, just beyond the next thicket, but the bloodbane pack burst through the trees behind us before we could reach it. 3 of them, all enormous, all wrong, all red-eyed and snarling. Ronan skidded to a halt, positioning his body between me and the pack. I slid off his back instinctively, not wanting to make him fight with my weight holding him down. Ronan, I whispered, don't shift back. You're too weak. He didn't. He growled, low and dangerous, fur bristling. The first bloodbane wolf stalked forward, drool dripping from its jaws. It was bigger than Ronan, bigger than any wild animal had a right to be. Its red eyes locked onto me like I was prey. Mara, Ronan growled, not as a word, but as a warning rumble vibrating through the ground. I took a step back. The bloodbane alpha, because that's what he had to be, sniffed the air, then snarled. He lunged. Ronan launched himself forward, colliding with the alpha midair. They crashed into the ground in a violent tangle of fur and teeth. The battle was brutal. Blood sprayed, teeth snapped. Ronan's growls shook the trees. Another bloodbane wolf tried to flank Ronan, heading straight for me. No! I screamed. Before I could move, Ronan broke away from the alpha, barreling into the second wolf so hard it hit a tree, with a sickening crack. Ronan! I shouted, voice trembling. Behind you! The third wolf lunged at his flank. Ronan turned too slow. The wolf's teeth sank into his shoulder. Ronan roared, an agonized, furious sound that tore through the forest. I froze. He was being overwhelmed. He was outnumbered. And the venom was still clawing at him from the inside. I grabbed the knife. It felt tiny, pathetic in my trembling hand, but I wasn't going to stand here and watch him die. Not Ronan. Not after everything. I sprinted toward the wolf latched onto his shoulder and drove the blade down with all the strength I had. The wolf yelped and released him. But its attention jerked to me. It snarled, red eyes blazing. Mara! Ronan roared, this time unmistakably speaking through the wolf's throat. He threw himself forward, ramming the creature off its feet before it could tear into me. But the cost was immediate. His legs buckled. He collapsed. Ronan! I dropped to my knees beside him as he struggled to rise, his body shaking violently, fur flickering as though the shift was failing. Mara, run, he breathed. No, I whispered fiercely, touching his muzzle with trembling hands. I'm not leaving you, I told you, I stay. He looked at me with molten, pained eyes. Another howl rose behind us, the bloodbane alpha recovering. Ronan lifted his head weakly, growling. But he couldn't stand. He couldn't fight. He was dying. Not because of the wolves, but because of me. The bond. The realization sliced through me. The bloodbane wolves weren't just hunting Ronan, they were hunting the mate bond. They were trying to sever it by killing one of us. I swallowed hard and leaned close to Ronan. Ronan, I whispered, cupping his face. Look at me. His eyes fluttered open. I choose you, I breathed. Something flickered inside him. A spark, a pull, a surge of heat. And suddenly, the air around us shifted. The forest quieted. A strange warmth poured from my chest into Ronan's. His ears twitched, his breathing steadied, his muscles tensed, not in pain but power. His amber eyes ignited with a brilliant, fiery gold. He rose to his feet, strong, steady, alive. Mara, The sound that left him was reverent, shocked, awed. The bond was real. And my choice had awakened it. The bloodbane alpha lunged. But this time, Ronan moved like lightning. He met the wolf midair with a roar that shook the ridge, and the forest exploded into battle. Chapter 8. Blood and Moonfire. Ronan collided with the bloodbane alpha in a burst of pure fury and gold-lit power. Their bodies slammed into the forest floor with a thundering crack, shaking loose branches and sending leaves spiraling through the cold night air. The alpha twisted, jaws snapping, claws slicing, driven by hunger, rage, and something deeper. Something hateful. But Ronan was different now. He didn't fight with desperation, he fought with purpose, with clarity, with a strength that rose from something deeper than muscle or instinct. He fought because I had chosen him. The bond pulsed like moonlit fire under my skin, warm and electric, threading through my veins in a whisper of belonging I didn't understand, but felt with every breath. It tugged at me, pulling me closer to him even as he launched into the battle. Ronan sank his teeth into the alpha's shoulder, tossing the creature aside with a force so immense the wolf slammed into a tree trunk and splintered it in half. But the alpha wasn't down. Not yet. He rose again, slower this time, shaking off the impact, red eyes burning bright. Wanting Ronan, wanting me, wanting everything the bond represented. The other two bloodbane wolves circled, snarling, waiting for the alpha's command. I staggered backward until my spine hit a tree, knife shaking in my hand. I wasn't a fighter. I wasn't a shifter. I wasn't anything special. But the bond inside me pulsed again. Warm, insistent, ancient. A whisper threaded through me, soft as breath. Help him. I'm trying, I whispered into the night. Tell me how. The forest didn't answer, but Ronan did. His gaze, wolf, not human, cut to mine, mid-battle. Flames of gold burned in his eyes, a silent echo of the bond flaring bright between us. I felt him. Not physically, not literally, but emotionally. His fear, his determination, his need to survive. For me. And something else underneath it all. Trust me. The words weren't spoken aloud, yet I felt them deep in my chest. And then, Ronan turned back to the alpha, hackles raised, paws digging into the earth as he prepared for another clash. The alpha lunged. Ronan met him halfway. They collided with a crash that sent sparks of pain through Ronan, and through me. I gasped, hand flying to my chest. The bond. It was tying us together more tightly than ever. Every injury he took now echoed faintly through me, not enough to hurt, just enough to warn, enough to frighten. Ronan, I whispered, voice trembling. Please. The alpha's claws raked Ronan's flank. I flinched as fire prickled across my ribs. Ronan stumbled but didn't fall. He lunged again, jaws closing around the alpha's throat, forcing it down. The second wolf charged toward Ronan's exposed side. But this time, I didn't hesitate. I ran forward. Not fearless, but determined. Hey! I screamed. The wolf turned just in time for me to swing the bloodied hunting knife across its muzzle. It yelped, reeling backward. Mara! Ronan snarled. Protective, panicked. Another flash of pain shot through him as the alpha thrashed under him. I could feel it all. But I didn't run. I'm with you, I shouted, defiance rising in my chest. I'm right here. The bond flared, bright, overwhelming, ancient. Ronan's eyes snapped toward me again. He moved with new strength. He whipped the alpha's head hard into the ground, once, twice, until the creature collapsed with a guttural, broken growl. The second wolf lunged for me again. Ronan blurred. He slammed into it midair, flipping it over, teeth tearing into its shoulder. The creature shrieked, scrambling, trying to rise. Too late. Ronan finished it swiftly. The third wolf hesitated, glancing between Ronan and the fallen alpha. Then it turned and fled. Ronan stalked after it, snarling. "Ronan!" I cried. He froze. Head snapped toward me, eyes blazing gold. The fleeing wolf vanished into the trees. Slowly, Ronan stepped back from the bodies of the others, chest heaving, fur matted with blood. His and theirs. His paws left deep impressions in the mud. His breath came out in thick, steaming bursts. My heart throbbed painfully at the sight. He'd won. But at what cost? "Ronan," I whispered, stepping toward him cautiously. His ears twitched, his massive body trembled, his head lowered, hackles still raised. He wasn't attacking. He wasn't losing control. He was scared. Of himself. Of what he'd done. Of how close he'd come to losing me. "I'm okay," I whispered. "You protected me." Ronan let out a low, trembling whine. I stepped closer, reaching out with a shaking hand. He lowered his head fully to the ground in front of me, a gesture of surrender so vulnerable my throat tightened. "Ronan," I breathed, kneeling in front of him, fingers brushing the fur along his jaw. "You came back to me." His eyes closed, leaning into my touch. For the first time since he shifted, he seemed at peace. The moon slid from behind a cloud, casting pale silver over us. The forest quieted. Even the air felt gentler. Ronan's wolf form shimmered faintly, as if the bond pulsed around him in waves of gold and silver. "You saved me," I whispered. His amber eyes opened, soft and full of emotion. I heard him. Not with my ears, not with my mind, with my soul. "No, Mara. You saved me." My breath caught, eyes stinging. I felt you," I whispered. "The bond, whatever it is, it connected us." He dipped his head again, brushing his snout against my chest, right over my heart. Heat bloomed there, gold and warm and terrifying. His wolf made a soft sound, almost human in its tenderness. Then, the air around him shifted. His muscles trembled. The glow faded. Ronan staggered. "Ronan?" I gasped, stepping back as his form flickered. The shift was reversing, too fast, too sudden. He collapsed onto his side, body convulsing as the wolf receded. And the man beneath clawed his way back to the surface. "Ronan!" I caught him as his human form emerged, bloody, bruised, exhausted, but alive. He fell against me, limbs shaking, breath harsh and uneven. "Mara," he rasped, voice raw. "Are you hurt?" I shook my head, tears blurring my vision. "No, I'm okay. You did it." His hand cupped the back of my neck, pulling me close until our foreheads touched. "You shouldn't have stepped in," he whispered, pained and reverent. "You're supposed to be safe." "I'm supposed to be with you," I whispered back. His breath caught. The bond pulsed once, bright as a heartbeat. He sagged into me fully, voice breaking. "I don't deserve this," he whispered. "But I want it. God, I want you." My fingers curled into his hair. "And you have me," I breathed. No hesitation left. He shuddered, a full-body tremor that wasn't pain, but relief. But before he could speak, another howl erupted in the distance, not bloodbane, something deeper, older, calling Ronan by name. Ronan stiffened in my arms, eyes widening. "Oh no," he whispered, voice hollowing. "What? What is it?" I asked. He lifted his gaze toward the darkened forest. "My pack." The night held its breath. "And they're coming," he said quietly, "for you." Chapter 9. The Pack's Judgment. The night grew too quiet. Not peaceful, expectant, waiting. Ronan's body tensed against mine, muscles coiled, breath held like he could stop the world by will alone. The golden light in his eyes flickered, dimming as exhaustion pulled at him, but beneath it was another glow. Fear. Not fear of the wolves hunting us. Fear of something greater. My chest tightened. "Your pack?" What will they do when they get here? Ronan swallowed hard, jaw tightening. It depends. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have right now. The forest rustled around us, branches shifting, leaves whispering. The air itself thickened, heavy with an ancient energy I'd never felt before. Not like the bloodbane wolves. This was deeper, older, bound to the earth and moon. How many? I breathed. 5, Ronan whispered. Maybe 6. They move as one. I rose shakily, helping pull Ronan upright. His body trembled with every movement, skin still cooling from the shift. When he leaned heavily on me, trying and failing to hide the strain, something protective and fierce surged through me. I won't let them hurt you, I said quietly. He huffed a broken laugh. I'm more worried about them hurting you. Why would they do that? I didn't attack them. I'm not a threat. You are a human, he murmured, softly, apologetically. That's enough to them. I blinked. Enough? For what? For suspicion. For judgment. He dragged in a shaky breath. For punishment. My heart lurched. For what exactly? He turned toward me, eyes dark and pained. For bonding with one of their own. A cold rush flooded my chest. The mate bond, I whispered. He nodded once, slowly, like admitting it was tearing something open inside him. They'll smell it, he said. The moment they lay eyes on me, the moment they get near you. They'll know? Yes. And what then? Ronan clenched his jaw, looking away. Human mates are forbidden. Always have been. My stomach plummeted. You didn't tell me that. Because I didn't want you afraid of me, he breathed. Or of what being tied to me means. I stepped closer, lifting his chin gently. I want the truth. His voice cracked. The truth is that my pack believes humans weaken us, distract us, make us vulnerable. They think the bond should only form between shifters. And you? I whispered. He didn't hesitate, not even for a heartbeat. I think the moon chooses who it chooses. His hand rose slowly, brushing a strand of wet hair from my cheek. His fingers lingered. And I would choose you in every life, in every world, in every form. The words stole my breath. But our moment shattered when a new sound broke through the trees. Not a howl, not a growl, but a chorus of footsteps moving in perfect predatory unison. Branches parted, shadows stepped forward. 6 wolves emerged from the trees. Not monstrous like Bloodbane. These wolves were larger, leaner, powerful. Their eyes were a striking silver, reflecting moonlight even though the moon was hidden behind clouds. They radiated command, discipline, and something older than any human law. Ronan stiffened beside me. Mara, he whispered. Whatever happens, don't run. I nodded, though fear clawed up my throat. The lead wolf shifted, not slowly, not painfully, gracefully, like water reforming into shape. Bones rearranged with a fluid whisper rather than cracking. Fur receded like smoke, and standing in place of the wolf was a man. Tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair tied back, and eyes the same silver as the moon reflected in a lake. His presence alone changed the air, heavy with authority. Ronan, the man rumbled. You've caused quite a stir. Ronan straightened, hiding his pain as best he could. Calder. Calder. His alpha. My pulse quickened. Calder's gaze swept over Ronan, taking in the blood, the wounds, the exhaustion. Then his eyes shifted to me. Silver met human brown. A moment of absolute silence. Then his nostrils flared. He smelled the bond. His eyes hardened. A human? He said, voice dropping. Ronan, what have you done? Ronan stepped between us, instinctive, protective. It wasn't my choice. No, Calder said softly. The moon never asks what we want, only what we need. The other wolves shifted behind him, 5 more men and women, forming a silent semicircle around us. Their eyes glowed with mixed emotions: curiosity, suspicion, hostility. Calder circled Ronan slowly. "You've taken a human as a mate," he said. "Bound yourself to her with the moon's mark." "She saved my life," Ronan snapped. "Twice. And I saved hers." "That is irrelevant." "Is it?" Ronan growled. "Without her, I'd be dead. You would be down a wolf, and Bloodbane would have ripped me apart." Calder stopped in front of him. "You broke our laws." Ronan tensed. I stepped forward before I could think, heart pounding. "He didn't break anything," I said. "We didn't choose this?" "Quiet," Calder commanded. The word was sharp enough to freeze the air. Ronan growled, stepping half a pace in front of me. "You do not command her." Calder's gaze sharpened. "And there it is." "There what?" I whispered. Calder studied Ronan like examining a fracture. "Your wolf has already accepted her. Fully. Completely." Ronan didn't deny it. My breath caught. Calder exhaled, long and slow. "Then the bond is irreversible." Some of the pack members muttered under their breath. Uneasy, angry, afraid. Calder silenced them with a gesture. His eyes returned to me. "You do not understand what you've entered, human." I held my ground. "Then explain it." He studied me again. Longer this time, deeper. "You touched him during the shift." "Yes." "You stood by him during the fight." "Yes." "You accepted the bond." My voice softened. "Yes." Calder let out a slow breath. "Then you have stepped into our world in a way humans never do." He glanced upward. Clouds shifted, revealing a thin sliver of moonlight. "The moon does not make mistakes," he murmured. Ronan stiffened. "So what does this mean?" Calder turned fully toward him. "It means," the Alpha said slowly, "that she must be brought to the pack." My pulse spiked. "Why?" "To be judged." Cold fear shot through me. "Judged?" I echoed. "For what?" Calder's eyes hardened like silver forged in flame. "To decide," he said, "whether a human can be accepted as the mate of one of our strongest wolves, or whether the bond must be severed." Ronan growled, a low, savage sound. "You will not touch her." Calder's expression didn't change. "That is not your decision, Ronan." "It is. Or I walk away from the pack entirely." The pack behind Calder stirred uneasily. Calder tilted his head. "You would abandon your lineage? Your birthright? Your blood?" Ronan took my hand, interlaced our fingers, never looking away from Calder. "For her," he said calmly, "I will give up everything." The forest held its breath. Calder stared at him for a long, tense moment. Then his gaze drifted to our joined hands, where the faintest shimmer of bond light still pulsed between our skin. "Very well," the Alpha said quietly. My heart seized. Calder's silver eyes met mine. "You will come with us," he said. "Both of you." "To be judged?" "Yes." "And if they decide against me?" I whispered. Calder's expression softened, but only barely. "Then the bond will be broken." He looked at Ronan, "and he will not survive it." Chapter 10: The Moon's Trial. The forest shifted around us as the pack tightened their circle. Moonlight leaked through the clouds in shards of silver, hitting Ronan's skin like a brand. His grip on my hand tightened, not painfully, but with certainty, with defiance. He wasn't letting go. Not of me, not of the bond. But Calder's words kept repeating in my mind, each echo colder than the last. "If they decide against me, the bond will be broken, and Ronan will not survive it." Ronan noticed my trembling. His thumb brushed my knuckles, grounding me. "I won't let them harm you," he murmured. "You're the one they'll hurt," I whispered back. His jaw tensed. "Then they'll have to go through me first." A low rumble rose from one of the pack wolves, deep, disapproving. Calder lifted a hand, silencing him. Follow, the Alpha ordered. Ronan tensed, muscles coiling, but he nodded once. Not in obedience, in strategy. He leaned close to me as we began to walk. Stay beside me. Don't speak unless spoken to. And whatever you do, don't show fear. A bitter laugh lodged in my throat. That's a little difficult right now. His voice softened. You're stronger than you think. I swallowed hard. How do you know? His gaze flicked to me, warm, fierce, unyieldingly proud. Because my wolf chose you before I even understood why. The words struck deep, comfort and danger woven into one. We walked for several minutes through thickening trees, deeper into the territory of Ronan's people. The pack moved silently, their steps coordinated, almost ritualistic. Mist curled around our ankles. The trees grew taller, older, some marked with ancient runes carved into their bark. My pulse quickened. What is this place? Calder answered without turning. Sacred ground, the place of trials, the place of truth. A clearing opened before us like the belly of the night itself. The moon hung low above it, no longer silver but pale gold, as if responding to the bond pulsing inside me. At the center of the clearing stood a stone circle, weathered, ancient, radiating power. Ronan stiffened. No, he breathed. Not the liminal ring. My stomach dropped. What is it? Calder turned to face us fully. His expression was solemn, heavy with responsibility. It is where bonds are proven, or broken. Ronan stepped between me and the circle. She doesn't belong there. She does now, Calder said softly. A low growl rose from Ronan's chest. The other wolves tensed. Calder's voice sharpened. If you defy the judgment, you defy the moon itself. Ronan's growl died, but only barely. His shoulders shook with restraint. Ronan, I whispered, touching his arm. He turned to me, eyes burning with fear he tried to hide. You don't have to do this alone, I said quietly. His voice cracked. I should never have dragged you into this. I walked into it with you. His gaze softened, but his pain didn't. Calder stepped closer, eyes like silver blades. Human. I forced myself to meet his gaze. My name is Mara. A flicker of something, surprise, respect, crossed his features. Mara, he said. Do you truly claim the bond? Not because of fear. Not because of confusion, but because you feel it as he does? I didn't look away. Yes. A murmur rippled through the pack. Calder's brow tightened. Do you understand the cost? To be bound to a shifter is to ally your soul with the moon's will. You will never be free of it. I thought of Ronan's hands shaking as he fought the shift. I thought of his eyes glowing gold in the storm. I thought of the way he whispered my name like it meant salvation. Yes, I said. I understand. Ronan inhaled sharply beside me. Calder nodded once. Then step into the circle. Ronan grabbed my wrist instantly. No. Mara, Calder said, if you step into the circle, the moon will show the truth of your hearts. If the bond is genuine, you will be accepted. If it is not. His eyes shifted to Ronan, sorrow flickering in them. He will break. And you will watch him fall. My blood turned cold. Ronan's voice broke into a snarl. I won't let her risk that. You don't get to choose for her, Calder said. Yes, I do, Ronan roared. I will not lose her. His voice cracked on the last word, full of pain, fear, and something like devotion. I stepped in front of him. His breath hitched. Mara, don't. I'm not doing this because of them, I said softly. I'm doing it because of us. His jaw clenched. His entire body trembled. You could die, he whispered, voice cracking. I could die. I won't lose you, I whispered. You don't know what the moon will decide. Then let me decide this part. His lashes lowered, pain tightening every line of his face. I can't watch you step into danger because of me. You already did, I murmured. You watched me step into the fight with two wolves twice your size. His lips parted, but no sound came. I turned to Calder. I'll do it. Ronan made a broken sound, part growl, part plea, but I stepped forward anyway. The moment my foot touched the stone circle, the air changed. Warmth spread up my legs. A faint, shimmering rose around me like dust catching moonlight. Mara! Ronan lunged. Calder blocked him with one arm, though Ronan could have thrown him aside. The fact that he didn't proved how much he feared harming anyone in this state. Inside the circle, the air thickened. The moon glowed brighter. The ground thrummed. The runes on the stones lit with gold light. Mara, Calder said from the edge, voice echoing strangely. Speak the truth of your bond. My heart raced. What truth? He answered softly. The truth of what he is to you. I swallowed. Images flickered behind my eyes. Ronan bleeding in the storm. Ronan trembling on the cabin floor. Ronan shielding me from hunters. Ronan's wolf lowering its head to my hands. I lifted my chin. Ronan is the one who makes me feel safe in a world that never has. He is the storm and the shelter. He is what I choose. The eye, runes glowed brighter. A wind rushed through the circle. Calder's voice deepened. And what are you willing to become for him? My chest tightened. Whatever the moon requires. Ronan's roar cut through the clearing. No! I turned sharply. He had shifted halfway. Eyes gold, teeth lengthening, muscles bulging beneath skin on the verge of fur. His control was cracking. I won't let her change for me, he yelled, voice split between man and wolf. Calder stepped aside. The moon must hear your truth as well, Ronan. Ronan staggered into the circle's edge. The light sparked under his feet. He looked at me, truly looked at me, as if searching my soul. His voice shook. Mara, I am nothing without you. The runes pulsed. He stepped closer. You are the calm in my chaos, the fire in my darkness, the only thing that pulls me back from the edge. The glow intensified. He reached for me, though the light blocked him like a barrier. I don't want a bond that makes you suffer, he whispered. I want a bond that frees you. Tears burned my eyes. Then take my hand, I said. He pressed his palm against the invisible barrier, muscles shaking. I can't. Yes, I whispered. You can. The moon flared, bright, gold, ancient. The barrier dissolved. Ronan stumbled forward, falling to his knees before me. His hand found mine and clenched tight. Warm, real, trembling. Light burst around us. Warmth surged through my chest, through his, through the bond. A voice I didn't understand whispered in my mind. Accepted. Bound. Whole. The runes dimmed. The wind died. Ronan exhaled, shaking, forehead pressed to my hand in relief. Calder spoke quietly behind us, awe in his tone. The bond is true. Ronan looked up at me, eyes soft, human, overflowing. You're mine, he whispered. And you're mine, I breathed. The pack watched in silence. But Ronan didn't care. He pulled me into his arms, holding me like the world had just been given back to him. And for the first time since meeting him, I felt whole. Chapter 11. When the Wolf Found Peace. Ronan held me as though letting go would undo everything the moon had just granted us. His arms wrapped around me, warm, trembling, fiercely protective, while the stone circle's golden light faded into the hush of the forest. The pack stood in stunned silence. Some watched with awe, some with resentment, some with fear of what this meant. But none dared move. Calder finally broke the stillness. The moon has spoken, he said quietly. The bond stands. Ronan didn't lift his head from the curve of my neck, didn't loosen his grip, didn't even look at his alpha. His voice came muffled against my skin. She's mine. A shiver rolled through me, not from fear, but from the sheer certainty in his words. The truth of them, the way the bond inside my chest pulsed, warm and gentle, like it agreed. Calder nodded. And you are hers. That part felt different. Sacred. Final. Ronan's arms tightened around me at those words, and he finally pulled back enough to meet my eyes. What I saw there stole my breath. Not hunger, not fear, not the wildness of his shift, but relief, devotion, peace. Mara, he whispered, brushing a thumb across my cheek. I thought I would lose you. You won't, I said softly. Not now. Not ever. Emotion flickered across his face, raw and unguarded. You don't understand what you risked, what you endured. I do, I murmured. I risked what you would have risked for me. His breath shuddered. Calder stepped closer, his silver eyes cautious but no longer hostile. Ronan, the Alpha said, the bond's acceptance protects her, but it also binds you deeper to the pack. Ronan stiffened. If you think I'm letting her be used or judged again, no, Calder cut in. That is finished. The circle has decided. The bond is sacred. A murmur rippled among the pack. Surprise, resistance, reluctant respect. Calder's gaze slid to me. You are one of us now. The word sent a shock through me. One of... I swallowed. I'm not a wolf. No, Calder agreed. But you are bonded to one. That makes you family. Protected, under our laws. Ronan's shoulders eased, just barely, as if a weight he'd carried his entire life finally loosened its grip. But Calder continued. It also means you must learn our ways, our rules, our dangers. I lifted my chin. I'm ready. Calder's gaze sharpened. Are you? This life is not gentle. It is not safe. You will be expected to endure trials that break even shifters. You may be hunted. You may be feared. She won't be alone, Ronan growled. I'll teach her. I'll protect her. Calder's expression softened, not with warmth, but with understanding. Then your first duty as her mate is to bring her home. Ronan tensed. Our den? Your pack, Calder corrected. Both of you. My heart kicked hard. A den, a pack, a home. It felt surreal, terrifying, beautiful. Ronan took my hand again, squeezing gently. Only if she wants it? I met his gaze, moonlight silvering his dark hair, turning him into something out of myth. I want whatever keeps us together, I said. Something inside him broke in the gentlest way, his breath catching, eyes softening, mouth parting just slightly. Mara, he whispered, voice thick. You have no idea what that means. Calder turned, addressing the pack. Prepare the trail. We return by moonrise. The pack members shifted, some into wolves, some staying human, before dispersing into the trees. Their silence wasn't hostile anymore. It was wary acceptance. Calder nodded once at Ronan. Welcome home, brother. Both of you. Then he shifted and slipped into the forest, the others following until Ronan and I were alone. The night air felt suddenly lighter. Ronan exhaled, long, shaky, relieved. I didn't think they'd accept you. Neither did I admitted. His smile was small and real. The moon didn't leave them a choice. We stood in the clearing, the remnants of power humming faintly around us. I watched Ronan's expression shift, tension leaving, strength returning, the weight of centuries of pack law loosening from his shoulders. You look different, I whispered. How? Lighter. He huffed a soft laugh. Maybe because I'm not fighting myself anymore. He cupped my face with both hands. Mara, he murmured, voice deep. I meant every word I said. When I thought I was losing you, something inside me almost died. I knew, I whispered. I felt it. A shiver rippled down my spine. You felt it, he echoed, voice reverent. I nodded. The bond, the fear, the pain, all of it. Ronan's eyes darkened, not with danger, but emotion so fierce it stole my breath. You're part of me now, he whispered, and you're part of me. His forehead rested against mine, breath mingling with mine. The world felt impossibly still. Then he whispered, voice trembling, I love you. My heart flared with warmth. Slow, certain, undeniable. I love you too, I said. He inhaled sharply, like the words hit deeper than any wound, but healed instead of hurt. Lightning didn't split the sky. The ground didn't shake. The moon didn't scream. But I felt the bond thrum, warm and quiet, like a heartbeat syncing with another. Ronan exhaled a soft, shuddering breath. For so long, he murmured, I carried the curse alone. The wolf inside me felt like a monster. The pack felt like a cage. The moon felt like a punishment. His thumbs brushed my cheeks. But you, he swallowed hard. You feel like a beginning. A lump rose in my throat. And you feel like home, I whispered. A long moment passed. Quiet, intimate, full of everything we had fought for. Finally, Ronan drew back slightly. We should head toward the pack territory, he said gently. There are rituals to complete, vows to make, places you need to see, and a future we need to build. Together? I asked. His smile was soft and full of promise. Always. He pressed a kiss to my forehead, warm, reverent, lingering. Come on, he said, intertwining our fingers. The pack will wait, but the moon won't. And hand in hand, hearts bound and future unfolding before us, we stepped out of the clearing, toward the life the moon had chosen for us. Chapter 12. A new moon, a new beginning. The forest gradually shifted from ancient shadows to soft dawn light as Ronan led me along a path few humans had ever walked. Morning mist curled around his bare feet, catching on the scars along his calves and the faint shimmer of fading moonlight on his skin. All night we walked, slow, unhurried, our hands entwined as though we'd been doing it for lifetimes. The bond pulsed steadily between us now, warm as a heartbeat, steady as breath, not overwhelming, not frightening, just right. Each step took us deeper into pack territory. But for the first time since meeting him, I felt no fear, no storm, no hunters, no curses waiting to swallow him whole. Only Ronan, and the new world blooming quietly around us. By the time the sun eased over the horizon, we reached a hidden valley carved between two ridges. Mist pooled in silver ribbons over a cluster of wooden structures, cabins built from dark timber, roofs slanted beneath tall pines, smoke rising from chimneys like soft signals to the waking day. Wolfstone Hollow. Ronan squeezed my hand. Welcome home. My breath caught. It's beautiful. He studied my face, searching for any hint of hesitation. It's not glamorous, and the pack can be intense. It feels safe, I said softly. His shoulders relaxed like those words alone lifted a weight. Wait until you see the den, he murmured. It's quieter there, warmer, more private. A flush crept up my neck at the way his voice dropped on that last word. Private, rich and low, like a promise. But he didn't push, didn't rush. He just walked with me, guiding me through the valley's heart. Pack members emerged from their cabins as we passed, some curious, some wary, some giving small nods of quiet respect. Most kept their distance, but none challenged. Not after the bond's acceptance. Two younger shifters, siblings with matching silver eyes, bowed their heads to Ronan. Alpha bound, they murmured respectfully. Ronan stiffened. Don't call me. Calder stepped from the largest cabin, expression unreadable. Ronan, the Alpha said. They're not wrong. Ronan frowned. What do you mean? Calder crossed his arms, gaze flicking to me and back to Ronan. The moon didn't just accept your bond, it blessed it. And the way you fought, the way your wolf answered her. Ronan growled under his breath. Calder, you're no longer an outcast wandering the border. You are one of our strongest. Ronan's jaw flexed. That doesn't make me fit to lead. Calder smiled faintly. Leadership is rarely about being ready, it's about being needed. Ronan said nothing. His grip on my hand tightened. Then Calder's eyes softened as he turned to me. You survived the bond trial, he said. You faced wolves and venom and moonlight. And you stand here now with a calm heart. That alone speaks louder than any ritual. Ronan drew closer to me, protective instinct still thrumming beneath his skin. Calder dipped his head. Mara, you are welcome here. The words warmed my chest like sunlight through glass. Thank you, I murmured. Calder nodded once. Ronan, she will need guidance, and you will need rest. Ronan huffed. I'm fine. You're exhausted, corrected gently. Ronan glanced at me, a reluctant smile ghosting across his lips. Maybe a little. Calder turned away. The den is prepared. Take her. I blinked. Prepared. Ronan rubbed the back of his neck. Shifter tradition. A bonded pair is given space to heal together. A pair. The word made my stomach flutter. He hesitated, uncertainty flickering in his amber eyes. Only if you're comfortable. I stepped closer, brushing my fingers along his jaw where stubble darkened his skin. Lead the way. His breath hitched. Then, without another word, he guided me toward a secluded cabin tucked beneath a towering pine. Vines crept along its walls. Wildflowers framed the doorway. The scent of cedar drifted from the open window. Ronan paused at the threshold. This is our space now, he said softly. If you want it. I do, I whispered. Inside, the cabin was warm, lit by a soft fire that crackled in a stone hearth. Furs lay across the wooden floor. A low bed sat against the far wall, piled with blankets woven in deep forest colors. Ronan closed the door behind us. For the first time since the stormy night, I found him bleeding beneath the trees. We were alone. No danger, no wolves circling, no curse pressing claws into his spine. Just him. Just me. Just us. Ronan turned to face me. His expression was open in a way that stole my breath. Raw, vulnerable, full of something that felt like reverence. Mara, he said quietly. I've lived many years believing the wolf was a curse, that the moon wanted me alone, that my life would be nothing but violence and restraint. He stepped closer, raising a hand to brush a strand of hair behind my ear. But then you walked into my storm. His thumb traced my cheekbone, and everything changed. I swallowed hard. For me too. You don't understand, he murmured. The bond. It didn't just save me from the wolves. It saved me from myself. His forehead touched mine. You anchored me when I was breaking. You held me when I was losing control. You chose me when I didn't believe I deserved to be chosen. My eyes burned. Ronan. His voice deepened, rough with emotion. You're my future, Mara. My peace. My mate. A soft exhale left me. I'm yours, I whispered. In every way the moon allows. His eyes flickered. Human gold and wolfish fire intertwined. He pulled me into him then. Not desperate, not frantic, but slow and certain. His arms wrapped around my waist. Mine slid around his shoulders. The bond hummed softly between our chests, syncing our breaths. For the first time, Ronan's body relaxed fully against mine. Safe. Home. Whole. We stayed like that for a long moment, breathing each other in, grounding ourselves after everything the world had demanded. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. We'll build a life here, together, with the pack, or far from them, if that's what you want. I shook my head, smiling softly. I want to build it with you, wherever you are. He let out a quiet, shaky breath. Then this, he murmured, is the beginning. Outside, the first rays of morning sunlight spilled into the valley, warming the trees, the rooftops, the mossy earth beneath the wolves' quiet steps. But inside our cabin, nestled in each other's arms, the only beginning that mattered was ours. Ronan pressed a gentle kiss to my forehead, a promise, a vow, a future. And I whispered into his chest, the bond glowing warm in my heart. I found my home, the night I found you.